The Beef and Barnzy Show, brought to you by Bowlersmart.com, trusted by bowlers around the world since 2004. By Lightning Strikes Bowl, home of Bowlers Mart Pro Shop. By Platinum Ford, drive the difference. By Fire Lake Bowling Center, 24 state-of-the-art lanes. By True Grit Coatings, drive on our passion. By Road to Grip, king of them all. By 900 Global, striking worldwide.
Good morning and welcome back to the Beef and Barnzy Show. A rare edition while everything's going on, it seems like, where we can actually both be on. So, as I know most of you prefer it when Stu's just here, but I'm here anyway. So, I'm Barnzy, as usual, joined by the inimitable Beef Stew. How are you this fine Tuesday morning?
I'm good. So if people have any questions about how to deal with a bad back or, aging gracefully or any of those things, Chris is back. So if you've been saving those questions up, you can ask him now. But yeah, you got off to a pretty good start yesterday.
Yeah, it was all right. I actually missed a few games in there, but the games that I did have it going, they fell over. Brunswick has a new breaking news. I didn't know until 2 days ago, but Brunswick has a new synthetic pin now to compete with twisters, and they're using them this week.
Cool.
So, not quite as 490, not really a term, but as twisters, but yeah, still kind of. And that was really where that separation score happened yesterday, because it wasn't particularly hard to hit the pocket, but you could flat 10 a little more than you can on twisters. But when you got it going, then they all just kind of hit each other too. That light shaker hit, if you didn't 9-pin on the flush one and you could get the little shaker one, then it was game on. And if you had the wrong thing going, Parker shot the 5-10 twice in the same game. And 3 8-pins in the same game.
Nice.
So, yeah, there was definitely there's a whole bunch of people at 50 to 80 over, and they basically had that problem. And then, speaking of whiners,
your history in Vienna says it probably isn't breaking your heart that there's a new plastic pin. So. Yeah. One thing, let's just quickly get started. We're doing the stream. All of the revenue that we gain from the stream is going towards Donna and the Striking Against Breast Cancer. We've teamed up with them this year. We're actually on the tournament shirt, Chris. The Beef and Barnzy logo is on the tournament shirt this year.
Whoa. So
that's kind of cool. I've been using Donna's spare ball for the majority of the year on the PBA tour side. I kind of go back and forth between my Platinum Ford spare ball when I'm kind of around town, because I can't use that one on the PBA, and clear plastic spare balls don't last that long for a guy who hits all of the holes when thrown at spares. So I've got a fresh one to drill for the tournament tomorrow. But
so the charity, the official charity for the Lucy.
Yeah, Striking Against Breast Cancer. So there's a few different ways you can be in. We're going to have a storm ball of your choice to give away. We're going to have some Beef and Barnzy merch. We're going to have a backpack for sure. We've got some good feedback about that. You can donate via a super chat. You can donate via Venmo at Beef and Barnzy. You can buy something on the website, beefandbarnzy.com. Obviously, if you buy something on the website, that works out the best for you because you get something for the donation guaranteed. And then at the end of the show, we will go ahead and we will start doing some drawings on the random draws. So anything that you donate today is going to go to Donna. If you do it via super chats, YouTube's going to take some of it, so I'm going to have to figure that out after the fact. If you do it via Venmo or via Beef and Barnzy's website, all of that will go directly towards striking against breast cancer. So one of our frequent contributors, Travis, thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's it is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I almost feel like we're getting to the point where she's going to try and add another day because I think she could have filled out another 2 squads this year.
Wow, that's well.
Yeah, exactly. So if Chris can do the if Chris can get the banner figured up to add the Venmo, and that would be good. It's at Beef and Barnzy for Venmo, and then I'll get that up, and we'll
Spelled
figure
out.
it out.
Spelled
If
out.
you can super chat, ask a question so we can keep the show moving along. What is like a few people have been asking, what was your experience like at the Players Championship you just finished?
Yeah, well, we bowled on web, and it broke down differently than I've ever seen it. We did no re-oils, and in general, it was another turn where they moving left actually just didn't look very good. It was difficult to move left and take advantage of it. Normally, you saw players that played straighter have a lot of success, and Liz Johnson made the step ladder. I finally on day 5 join them and used the red ball, IQ 78, and started out 5-6, and as it carried down, I just kept moving right and getting my hand a little softer and made a pretty good run. Shot 430 over the last block and went 6-1-1 and went from 150 out of the show to 100 and a little bit over 100 into the show and into second place. And then we went. Bill Moore is the sponsor of this tournament. His father was a PBA member and a PBA regional champion, and so we go to his house actually for the finals. He hosts guys all week. He actually had food catered in every day and or made every day, and has a great little 2-lane with a bar and ping pong and skee ball and theater and workout room and sauna.
So what you're saying is you were spoiled.
It's a nice facility to go into. I've been fortunate. I made the step ladder the last 2 times. The 2 lanes look fantastic. They're lanes 13 and 14, which is the lanes his father had 300 on back in his PBA 300, and so I enjoy the whole thing tremendously, with one exception, and that is the actual step ladder and my scores in the step ladder. So I am 2 years in. I yet to have a double on this pair, and so needless to say, I lost to JJ in the semi final match, finishing 3rd. I did improve my score by a lot, but it was not close to winning. So,
well,
that's pretty much it.
We've got our first order on Beef and Barnzy. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate you. I'm just trying to log in to the Venmo account on my computer, which I've never done before. So if I'm like looking like that's why. So don't worry
Thanks,
about
Peter.
me.
Thanks, Glenn.
Just like Adam, all I was saying was there isn't a way to do a super chat. If you want to donate through super chats, that's fine. You can use that, no problem. It's just not the most efficient way to do it.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, a percentage of that will go there versus if you do go through Venmo, or it will all go to the charity.
Yeah.
My guy, the Tropical Surge has been making it into the building on a regular basis. It's been teasing me into trying it at times. It's been close. I don't quite have it dialed in to win, and the numbers terrify me. at 262 and 020 25, but it's getting a
Thanks,
little bit of play.
Stephanie.
You what?
I was just saying thank you to Stephanie for an order
yeah.
also. So that's good. She took a hat, beanie. Let's go.
Alan wants to know, can he do anything by just being awesome? Sure, you could try and be that at some point. I mean, that's a nice goal for you.
I'm just going to switch my camera off for a minute.
How about a Tina, Linda, and Liz podcast on Thursday?
Well, they will all be at the Lucy.
Yeah, they'll all be in Houston, so that may not work. Here's an interesting question. Brandon asks, you guys think Janowitz would be a Hall of Famer if he bowled on the PBA Tour? And just so you know, he's not in the room right now. So Stu can answer this one if he wants. He has a take on this.
Oh, you want me to? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't think they can hear me because you've taken me out. Oh no, I'm still there. All right, perfect. Yeah. I think that it would be very difficult for anybody to be as good as Janowitz is right now for all the time that they they were on the PBA tour. So you're obviously not as good as you were.
I'd say that's accurate.
And I don't necessarily know in the times that I bowled against Janowitz that he's actually that much worse now than he was 15 years ago. So I think that your skills have degraded at a faster rate than his skills have. So it's easy to say, well, Janowitz is bowling better than you now. Therefore, vis-a-vis, he would have been super competitive when you were both 30. But I think the difference between how good you are right now and how good he is right now, you've dropped off the curve faster than he has.
Yeah,
so,
I think John is still he's basically a new version of, say, Ron Moore or Amleto. One of the biggest advantages on the 50 tour is not obviously just physical skill, which helps tremendously. And I'm not saying John is not tremendously talented, because he is. But being in great shape still is a monstrous advantage over most of the field. And it's somewhat one of the advantages that Tom has. He's still as strong as he was, and mentally he's calmer, and he's actually improved. John has continued to add to his skill set. And when you bowl for 20 straight years on tour, your body just breaks down differently.
So I messed it up. I know why I can't log into a Venmo account, because we don't have a Beef and Barnzy Venmo account. That's why.
Oh.
We have a Beef and Barnzy PayPal account.
Okay.
But we don't have a Beef and Barnzy Venmo account.
So I need to change that.
So you can you can send it to me, Stu900 on Venmo. It's stu900@gmail.com. Or you can do as quite a few other people are doing right now. And yes, Alan, that is correct. I do have one job period. And yes, I'm a moron. So you could use PayPal, Beef and Barnzy. You can send it to me, Venmo, Stu900@gmail. If you do send something via either of those, just let me know. So I got Glenn's order. Thank you, Glenn. I got Jay's order. Derek, thank you. And Nevin, thanks again for supporting the channel and supporting a good cause. But the reason why we can't find the Venmo account is because there isn't one. I'm a moron. Yes, there we go. Moron. So, anyway. Yes. So, do I think Janovitz would be in the Hall of Fame? I think he could be. Do I think he would be? Don't know.
It's so hard to
I
tell.
just know. Oh, there we go. We got. Thanks, Roger. I got your Venmo. Perfect.
I think John fits in a lot of cares, in very similar, like say Derek Oath, a very very talented player who didn't ever really want to go that route. And if you don't want to be on tour, the chances of you to be in the Hall of Fame are actually, yeah. Would he have won? Yeah, I think it. He certainly could have won, but everyone throws it good. That's not the. That's just the entry fee. It's one of the biggest differences is everyone has something they're excellent at on tour, and so he's a guy who's good at a whole bunch of different things. He does have a couple of things he's fairly unique at, but he's really good at a bunch of things, and that serves the PBA 50 tour extremely well because you have a bunch of guys that they want it life and they're following a passion. They love bowling, and so they're continuing to improve now, but they're a little bit behind someone like John who still bowled all this time at a pretty high level with Team USA and just chose not to really be all in on tour.
Hey, Adam, why are you only telling me now?
Adam was there last week. He was the super fan. I love it when Adam's around. He was cool wicked up. So he definitely supported the sponsors that support us.
Just send me a send me a thing and I'll sort it out. Just send me a thing on Instagram with your address and what size you wanted. It wasn't a personal slight, Adam.
No, definitely not.
So over under on 25 balls.
Oh, I got the over.
Yeah, maybe. I'm like,
well, you're taking Tina's too, so you're definitely over. But
I've got Dom.
Huh?
Dom's landing tonight, so.
Oh, you're miles over. That's
not
even.
I mean, but for me personally, I think I'm going to be. Yeah, I might. It might end up being 24. This is how bad it's got with how often I redrill balls. I've now got to the point where I'm thinking about literally putting, literally writing January I do pink switch outers, February I do this color, and like have a 6-month rotation so I know which ball is which. Brian, you're writing on your wife's Facebook account. I'm pretty sure she didn't bowl a regional. This is Brian Poger.
Brian Poger, and he made the finals of the first 2 stops of this kind of second half swing. Bowled really good. Came within shots of making the show in Morgantown. Tremendous amount of improvement, and obviously all due to the show.
Well, he made a donation via Venmo, so thank you, Brian. And hey, thanks, Nevin, again. He PayPal'd us, so thank you.
Alan treated the over-under question like Jeopardy, and the answer is whatever the weight limit is on a half-ton F-150.
We never have a weight problem. We have a space problem.
It'll fit 80 easily. Easily.
I mean, I think the most we've ever got in the back is like 73. And that was a lot of like balls in boxes and like the odd ball that didn't have a box jammed in the middle.
I thought you were 81 when you came home from tour and you had.
Was it 81? Okay.
I think it was Nathan's stuff and you had some of Dom's and all of yours. And
oh, yeah. It was a disaster.
That was the max with a cover on anyway.
This is funny. Nevin. He says he's supporting selfishly by buying a shirt and less selfishly by just donating. Oh dear. Thank you. Oh, we got another order coming in. So this is working out well because Donna's getting more money and YouTube's getting less money. It's probably why we've got less people watching because YouTube's shutting us down. We're saying the
Oh, and
wrong words.
Liz went right from that stepladder and drove the 3 hours to Delaware when it was done, and then bowled 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. the next morning, and then won that regional. Apparently, I did not know that, but Nick, of course, Nick knows all things bowling, and
Yeah.
I was not aware. She said she'd really struggled on tour this year. She only had 2 checks on the ladies' tour, which goes to show even the ladies' tour is breaking them down more sideways these days. I assume that has a lot to do with it.
Sorry, this comment made me laugh. We've had a couple more orders, but this comment made me laugh. Me buys pre-owned and redrills Stu. I should have a system because I still do too many. So yeah, real quick. Thanks, Eddie. Got your order, and thanks, Kirk. Thanks again. Appreciate you guys. We got a pretty good amount of orders coming in, so that's awesome.
Peter,
yes.
Thanks for the super chat. Does Harsh Reality Pearl fit after the regular Harsh Reality? And yes, it does. They're out here this week. You're starting to see a lot more of them go down the lane. I anticipate that to continue as the week goes on. It's certainly sharper off the break point. It really, you can see with it being shiny, you can see it really torque up off of it. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to confuse the two that easily, I don't think. Especially with surface and that. If you shine it up in the video that we did, the ball review, the regular Harsh Reality shiny is quite a bit smoother than the Pearl is, which isn't always the case just because it's Pearl, but in this case, it certainly is.
Yeah, it's yeah. For me, it stands up very hard. I think
or really torques up.
Yeah. I'll be fascinated to see some of the ladies use it this week to see where it fits as to whether that's going to work out to be a good option for them, because I've obviously Ryan's the person we've seen had the most success with it so far, because there's not like an absolute ton of them out there.
Right. Yet, really. So next week, I believe. But
yeah. But like I say, so far it seems like having a little more speed has been good with that ball. The speed and rev rate, which, there aren't exactly a ton of balls that are bad for having more speed and rev rate.
I anticipate more rotation, a little bit of speed dominant being good with that ball. Speaking of Fire Lake, they announced Snowman doubles.
They did.
Yes, yesterday they announced that it will be early January again. That same 4th, 5th, I believe that's where it falls on the calendar. Weekend. So they are taking entries on Cash App and something else, I believe. They're trying to streamline their process, but you can put that on your calendar as the Stu Top 5 Open. Well, until last year.
So Alan Riley, I'm going to name and shame you, just donated $1.86.
Well, that's funny because that's like his average game 3 on Monday nights. Is that why?
Ken Fleming says, do you consider the XL as niche? No, I consider the XL as fucking awesome. The XL is one of my favorites at the minute. I think it's a really good compliment to the Absolute Power. In the it's a compliment if you have a 12-ball arsenal. If Alan now donated $48.14 to make his order up to $50. So thanks, Alan. So anyway, I think that it is a little bit more rounded than the Absolute Power. It fits in somewhat the same line on Chris's strength thing. It's not as strong as Harsh Reality Gem, Original Reality. It's not as strong as those balls. That cover's a little cleaner. So it's a step down. I do think that some of them come out really chalky though. So if you're seeing it not really back end very much, or you're feeling like it's a little lazy down the back end, just bowl with it a little bit. I think that once you get some oil on the cover and get it to shine up just a little bit, I think it makes a difference. But
for me, my lower pin ones have been a little better too.
Yeah, like for me, I've only used the
as a control ball kind of thing, and so more on the smoother of my drilling patterns. I like the smoother one. Just it's been more more usable, and I think better overall.
Yeah, the absolute power is a little bit more stand-uppy. One of a better description, like it stands up a little harder for me. So I feel like the absolute power actually is one that's like it kind of goes a little straighter through the pins because it stands up a little harder. And then the XL is a bit more rounded through the pins.
Whoa.
Bella Love Castillo joins us. She won at Junior Gold. So congratulations to her.
She is
has Storm hit it out.
It's nice to see her make some steps, and it's not always easy to be in front of in the spotlight when you're that young, and everybody gets to watch you go through all the lumps that it takes to improve. So fantastic. Congratulations, Bella.
Which city was that again? Odessa. I would say the best thing to come out of Odessa, but she doesn't have a lot of competition.
Sorry, Cody.
No, I just mean Odessa as a place, period. Not one of my favorites.
A lot of oil coming out of Odessa.
All.
Black gold, Texas tea.
So Nico says, has Storm hit it out the park with the Ion? Here's the thing for me about the Ion. I really like it. I'm not necessarily on the benchmark though.
I've made the XL and Ion as my benchmark 1A and 1B on
makes sense.
Lower volumes and 40 feet and less. The Ion has been really good for me. And then on the things that are longer than that or heavier volume, then the XL plays into it. Yesterday, the Ion Pro was really good for me, and that's where I got all my score of the back half. Was with that. I think 180 over the last 4, and that's where it kind of separated a little bit. It looked good in practice on the 40. Our 46 this week is 25 mils for whatever reason. So we'll be in front of the bar return by game 4, and it looked pretty good there, but I could see it going away pretty quick. X2s and maybe even our illustrious PD Dom, Mr. Dombrowski, the Tropical Surge could get in play on that one, depending on how much they hook.
Yeah, like for me, the thing I like about the Ion Pro is I genuinely think that it is different from the other balls that I have. Like, so to me, that somewhat rules it out of being a benchmark ball because the benchmark ball is supposed to tell me what all the other balls do. But because this is so different from all of the other balls, I find it a little hard for it to be my benchmark ball because it tends to work when most of my other balls don't work, which is absolutely awesome because having all the balls work at the same time sucks.
It's rubbish.
Because you never know which one you're supposed to be using because they all could work. And then when 2 or 3 of them don't work, you know you're screwed because they all do somewhat the same thing. And that's what, for me anyway, has been awesome about the Ion. I still haven't exactly dialed in when it is going to definitely work, but after throwing it a couple of shots and I see the shape it makes, I know that's when I'm going to be successful. So I still haven't dialed it perfectly into the arsenal, but I'm using it a lot.
Now, one of the things that I have seen quite a bit of the people who like it a lot is they've added a little surface.
Definitely.
Mine is the one I'm actually throwing the most now is a down one that's 4.5 inch pin, fairly strong down. But I hit it with 500, and originally, so it made it chalky, and now it's lane shined. And since it's lane shined, it's been really way, way usable on
Once
the
it had
rock.
the surface underneath, sort of thing.
Yeah, and so it's kind of, and that's what Storm does a lot anyway. So, but I just added a little bit more over what was on it originally, and the 500 with lane shine has been really, really good.
Thank you, Michael. I got your donation. Appreciate you. So yeah, I mean, I bowled this weekend. Went down to Plano. I actually haven't been to Plano many times since they did the lanes, and they've done the lanes probably almost a year now.
Yeah,
it's
eight
like
9 months ago. I guess they finished up in August. I guess of last year.
Yeah. So
yeah, they're doing them in August.
It's been more it's been more than a minute since they've done it. But I think I've only bowled there. I think I might have only bowled there once for the Plano Saspa foursome thing. So anyway, we went down. The pattern was 7-1. Which to me, I thought was an interesting one to pick, because I was a little nervous that a bunch of the good bowlers were going to just see that as that's still the house shot. Yet some of the other guys who bowl quite well on the house shot, we're going to see that, oh my God, this is way harder than the house shot. Because
I will
sometimes,
say, in all fairness, that 7-1 there does not play like 7-1.
No,
used to play. That used to be the house shot, the 250 every game.
Well, just to give him a shout out, because you're at one of his centers, Dave Small, his house shot in Anderson was the easiest thing we bowled on ever. Like all of the pros, like we had a bunch of us shoot 900 in the 9-pin no tap. I think Andrew Anderson had like 27 of the first 29 real strikes. It was ridiculous, right? And Dave's like, "You like this shot? You like this shot?" And I go, "Yeah, no." He goes, "This is 7.2-1." And it was unbelievably easy. You could use a reality or you could use an exponent pearl. Didn't matter.
It was big, small.
Oh, it was amazing. Like whatever they did, like the pins flew around pretty good in that bowling center, but still. So yeah, we went down there. The squads were kind of a little asymmetrical, somewhat a bit like your tournament now. Except we just had way less bowlers. Like we used 9-26 on the B squad. On the A squad, they used 9-48. So for the first year running the tournament, Terry and Tina and Tyson and Plano, huge turnout, 150 players across the men's and the women's event, 51 ladies, which is in Texas is almost a record, it feels like, for a non-handicap event. So all of that was awesome. Kind of watched Ryan and was kind of surprised. He was really struggling. Marshall Morrison, who's been destroying Plano, he didn't bowl great. He ended up cashing. Chapman bowled great. He ended up leading. Just trying to think. Anthony Lavery Spa, Mitch Hoope bowled really well, especially the first 3 or 4 games. Trey Brand ended up winning the event. He was second on the first squad. So anyway, I came on the B squad, and from watching what those guys had done, I felt like I had a pretty good idea. The only thing that was kind of making me a little nervous was how badly some of the guys had bowled, because you're like, it looks like it's kind of clear what you need to do. So why aren't they doing it? You know what I mean? Like, you're almost like, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
And I wasn't missing anything. I mean,
you do see it yesterday. It happened here kind of the same way. Like Ryan started on the end of 47-8, which is not a fantastic pair on that end. Then he goes to 11-12, which can also be a little tricky. Yesterday, I bowled next to Janowitz, Tony Franklin, and Bill Rowe are all in the same pair.
Yeah, 3 great bowlers.
Yeah, this was one of the best pairs in the building. And JJ threw the back 5 on his third ball change for 220 when Like I had 279 throwing the urethane ball, and the pair next to me shot 1,000 for the 4 guys. And Bo Gergen was the most recognizable name. And so JJ got caught in that, ooh, this pair doesn't do what I think it's supposed to do, went to a move, and that thing we talk about all the time, like, what happened to make you think that was a good idea? Kind of thing.
Yes.
And then he
And
got
Ryan was
into it.
definitely in that when he bowled
Yeah,
on
and like,
Saturday.
why are you not doing what they're doing? And
Yes. And it's like
yeah,
ball wise and everything. It's just so just quickly before I go into what I did, Casey and Peter, thank you. And also Peter, different Peter, thanks for the order on beef and Barnzy. So I went out and I drilled an absolute power, a pin down absolute power. Through that, looked really good. Then I had somewhat of a breakthrough on Friday. I was practicing on the Lucy pattern, and whatever it was, it just clicked. I'm going to suggest that it was the new glasses. So good work, Brady. Still haven't found the old pair. But suddenly it just felt like it did last year when I was bowling. Like a lot of what we talk about with Baker about how as people get further left on the lane, they just used way too much rotation. Suddenly I could bowl third, fourth, fifth arrow. And my timing was good enough that I wasn't really needing to add that much rotation. I was getting it to go through the pins and I was suddenly like, oh, that's what I need to do. And I could get my hand into the spot consistently because you're doing it when you start adding the rotation. You just can't stop yourself.
right.
And, I went back and I went down to Plano and I bowled the best 5 games I bowled in for ages. I bowled 1260. It wasn't really about the scores. It was just about
Sounds
there
like
wasn't
fun, though.
any shots that I was like, where did that one go? So that was awesome. I was, changing through balls. I used that absolute power. I used the DNA coil. I used the XL. I used the Iron Pro.
Whatever
but it was
you wanted,
like
and it works.
you were making such good shots that it was super easy to change. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's one shot and you go, ooh, now, yeah, I threw it good. Oh, there's no, it either works or doesn't work. It's when you throw
Yeah.
the bad, when you throw the bad one, it's like, it's just such a waste of time.
Yeah, you just sigh to yourself, don't you? You're not even angry. You're just like, oh, like, are we
Now I got
really
to throw it
doing this?
again. Yeah, so I have a miss because I threw it awful, or it struck and you still don't know. So
Hey, Brian, thank you. We also have to give a shout out to Coolwick, who help us with our website, with all of the gear. All the gear comes from Coolwick. Without Coolwick, we wouldn't be able to do this donation. So big thanks to them as well for helping us out with this. You guys are awesome.
they are awesome.
Hey, cool. Chris, thank you. Appreciate you. I hope you're doing well. Wonder where you are in the world today. Bob, would the XL be good for a low rev bowler? Well, we are going to see tonight because I drilled Tina one because she got in the Lucy. So she's bowling now. She got a call up to the bigs. So she's off the waiting list. She's in. Yeah, it's it's pretty cool. She was practicing yesterday. The reality looked pretty good for her, so I wanted another kind of strong ball that she could use. She used a gem last year, and we have no idea where it is. Like none. Like haven't done for months.
Gable League didn't need it, and so it's just disappeared now. Brady probably hit it. You'll find it next to the glasses.
Yeah, I don't think Brady moved the bowling ball.
He's getting strong now. I don't know. Thank you, James and Connor. And Riley says, how about a ballpark running total?
Okay, I'll keep adding it up.
Okay. And I'll keep chatting. Yeah, this week, like I said, I used IQ 78 on the 36-foot Ballard pattern. Then I used Absolute Power, which looked pretty, but I had the same thing that Knowlton was talking about earlier. I had a 4.9 in there, I had a couple 9 pins, and I had the flattest flat 10, a couple of them you've ever seen, and it looked fantastic on the lane enough that I still threw it for 2.5 games. It just wasn't good enough, and so went to the Ion Pro, and it felt like that was going to be a little bit too responsive. But it was, I just rolled it a little bit more to control it, and it continues so much more than the bigger balls do with that. For me, off the Lightning, it's 2 or 3 more, and it's all in the place you want it, which is down lane, and so pretty handy.
Yeah, we're the running total is around about 500.
Well,
Depending
wow,
on what
thanks,
YouTube
guys.
do, depending on what YouTube do with the donation, with the super chats and stuff.
It's not something I've seen in a little while, but I'm gonna. I'm not calling BS. Is Top 60 my favorite bowling center in the entire state of Michigan? Well, that has a PBA event.
I was about to say, I can guarantee the answer to this is no.
No, but
if he wants free board and accommodation, he might want to suggest
Lodge Lanes and Town and Country in Belleville and Canton, Michigan are my favorite centers. With, one of my best friends in the world, Bob Goike, is the proprietor there, but he does not host PBA 50 events, so or regular ones for that matter. Yeah, Dave Small is. I think they announced that he is hosting his 94th PBA event, and he's got over 30. I want to say they said 37 PBA 50 events now between regionals, which is he is far and away the biggest supporter of PBA and PBA 50 events. In sheer numbers, the PBA 50 tour by far on both sides, money and number of times hosting, and it's just wow. He's fantastic for us. His centers, he does a lot of upgrades. You walk in there, they're nice, they're clean, they run well. It's he's been good. He's one of the guys that's good for bowling for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Dave stepping up and hosting regular stops as well the last couple of years.
Yeah,
we've
been to 4 of the centers
3 years,
now,
I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very cool. Let's have a little bit of a look because the Lucy has changed a little bit this year. Let's see if I can pull up the roster. Because one of my friends who might be a keen observer of the tournament said that he felt like the roster was a little weaker this year, and Tina thought he was out of his mind. And I'm trying to, and I was trying to explain to Tina that I think it's just because he's watched for so many years, and now a bunch of the teams who he's followed or whatever aren't together anymore. Like, there's been a sort of a changeover in the teams. So it's kind of like, you immediately think, oh, it's way worse. Thanks, Jeremy. Just got your PayPal. Appreciate you. Let me just share this roster and we can just go through it a little bit. But there are some teams that are definitely up and coming. There are some teams that, I probably won't know, but you'll know by, Saturday afternoon, so to speak. But Shannon O'Keefe obviously still isn't bowling, so she's not bowling with Bill. So it's just there's a few different things going on. Highest rev rate in the tournament as a team, Ryan Barnes and Danielle Henderson. Think they've got it there.
He has there's a pretty big gap between Danielle and the next. I guess Andrew and Jordan Richard and she's probably the next closest, and she's going with Andrew, and I think Ryan has him covered by.
Yeah, I mean Jordan Richard isn't anyway. Like Daria's higher than Jordan Richard. In my
Is Daria and Giorgio bowling this year?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, over here. They're on the D squad. Dario and Giorgio. But yeah, I mean, it should be a cool event. I mean, the first squad gets underway on Friday at 8 a.m. So lots of good teams. Who are you leaning towards then, Chris? What's your who do you like? I think for me, the most unique team might be Nate Purchase and Jane Sin.
Wow. Well,
Jane didn't know anything about Nate's bowling. She was a little alarmed to find out that he doesn't use any holes in his spare ball.
Yeah. As traditional as Jane is, I can see that being somewhat, shall we say, controversial.
Yeah, I said to her, well, at least you'll have a good story to take home. This guy's crazy, and I said that if Nate gets it going on, he's like, he's almost like what Woody Harrelson in Kingpin when he walks into, he walks into the stadium and the music's going, he's bopping, and he takes the guy's pizza. I said, Nate's like that. He's like super happy with everybody. He's high-fiving the whole world when he gets strikes and stuff. And she's just like laughing. I was like, you want him to be bowling well because you'll see the other side. Like he'll be super like pumped and yeah. It's definitely an interesting interesting event. Dollar Store Tommy, Brad, one of Tommy's best friends from South Carolina back home. I call him Dollar Store Tommy because he has exactly the same hair as Tommy, but obviously doesn't bowl as well. You know the guy, don't you?
Oh, that's messed up.
Lindsay Boomershine is born with Nathan. So as fiery as Lindsay can get when she bowls, being a competitor that she is, Nathan will see this as a day off because he won't be getting berated by Maria. So no matter how it goes, Nathan's going to be like, oh, this was so easy. Lindsay, you're so much nicer. no matter what happens. So yeah, poor Nathan. And then Maria will be like, poor Nathan. So Chapman and Cassie Luthold, Liz Johnson is on on a heater right now. She's bowling with Kyle Troop. So that's obviously a team to watch out for.
That's a team.
Yeah. Like I say, there's so many teams. It's like hard to keep track.
The pattern this year is?
It's kind of similar to last year's pattern, actually.
They don't move too much. It's kind of been in the ballpark.
It's like 42 feet, I think.
Yeah.
I think I've been bowling on it. It's 42 feet. Yeah, it's not.
It's in that bowling center, so it's a little lower scoring than wherever you practice it at.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, last year they were a little softer. I bowled 190 over, and I didn't make the Beauty versus the Beast thing. I wasn't even really that close.
And no one's close to making it because it doesn't. It's 225 is a lot there most of the time. 100 over makes the cut a lot of times.
Stuart, our friend in the military, he finished 199th out of 300 at the Euro Challenge. He averaged 192 the second time around. He's in Kansas for a couple of weeks of vacation. Well, yeah. Well, enjoy your well-earned vacation. I think the point that he was making was EJ has bowled in the past. He's won with Deandra, but Deandra's not bowling as much as she was, or she hasn't been bowling late on in the tournaments. Like Liz hasn't been bowling as well as she was. Jordan Richard has changed, and she's going to bowl with Frank now. That's not necessarily to say that that's, they're not going to have better mesh or whatever you want to call synergy. But Frank hasn't had as successful a season as Andrew Anderson. AJ Johnson had been bowling a few times with Aaron McCarthy. So I think it's just some of the teams that he'd looked out for have changed. Belmo isn't bowling. Danielle McCune's been hurt.
On has to be considered a favorite until he doesn't need you.
I mean,
anybody Simo bowls with is also in that boat.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. I think his point was more he'd looked at certain teams that weren't there now. Yeah. So that was kind of like, Bill's been one of the best bowlers. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, largely when teams switch up, the chemistry is what you're looking for. Something that wasn't right before, and a couple of those teams will probably hit, and a couple of them will probably miss.
Yeah. And like a lot of the time, teams change because of relationships changing.
Yeah,
when it's mixed doubles. So I shout out to Lauren Russo. She still left Matt on the sideline, still bowling with her brother. She got her first title this year. I thought she might have said, "Sorry, Nick, got to bowl with a Titleist now."
This is really a sleeper, but not actually a sleeper team.
Yeah, Julia Bond's a strange one because she's got a game that feels like it should be good all of the time, and then she had that one season that she bowled on the tour where she felt like she won every week, but it's sort of not gone as well for her the last couple of years. So be interested to see. Mitch bowled great this weekend up in Dallas. Yeah, I saw it. The fucking world's going to hell in a handbasket. Cooley, the backup palm ball with a 13-pound urethane ball, led the Euro Challenge. Justin Veach, the backup palm ball with a reactive ball, shot 300. Trey Brand, I'll be honest, he fucked with me pretty good. He got up the first shot, hadn't thrown a backup ball at all, and just threw a backup ball on the right lane. Struck, went on the left lane, threw a regular shot. And I look at Mitch and I look at Chapman. I go, I don't know there's that much difference between the lanes. What the fuck is going on? And of course, my next shot, I flagged the head pin. I was just like flustered. And then he ended up striking out. Striking out. He ended up striking almost every shot on the lane he was backing it up on. So the last game, I was up by a few, and then the last game, he ended up beating me like pretty handily again, because I lost the same guy twice in the double elimination. It's always annoying. But I said to him when he got up to the 10th frame, because he'd already won by like 40 or something, I said, why were you throwing the backup ball on this lane? He goes, because this lane's tighter. Then I was even more angry because that lane hooked more. So yeah, it was yeah. I was just like, what world are we living in? We've got like Cooley leading tournaments, throwing backup balls with no thumb. Now this guy's throwing a backup shot on one lane with a urethane ball and a reactive ball regular. I'm like, oh my God.
To be fair, I can't remember the last time I read anything where it wasn't a urethane ball off the left side in Europe, but it could be just perception, not reality.
It's definitely a urethane ball.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily always the left side, but it's definitely a urethane ball every time.
Well, the Junior World Championships, the Swedish kids were all throwing backup balls too. So the left side was considerably easier than the right. And so
I'm sure that made Brandon Bone feel real good the first day because he didn't bowl very good the first day. And
yeah, he throws it
everybody
so
goes-
hard. I think he is like a 50-50 urethane guy at most, and probably 37.
he had the old perps, so he
Yeah.
was fine. I don't think it matters what speed you throw those.
Could be right.
But he ended up bowling great the rest of it. But I think it was kind of humbling that when you didn't think they were necessarily that easy, that the other team's right-handers were throwing backup balls. Kind of makes you reevaluate. Was my shot making that great?
This is interesting. Well, on Veach's pair this weekend, his backup ball was sick. He filled the thumb with an undrilled IT. I don't know that that's legal.
No. Technically, it's not legal. It's a bit like plugging a ball with a slug. It's not technically legal.
Well, USBC, it certainly grayer. PBA, you can't now. Although you can in the regional and the PBA.
No, I just mean like if you just hammer a slug into a hole and then drill it somewhere else, you've got like the slug isn't molded to the drill bit, so you have a void underneath. So that's kind of the same reason why the it isn't really technically allowed, because there isn't anything that goes through it. That's why I always found the it very strange, because when it first came out, the bottom was totally filled. And I thought they had to have a hole through it. So it's all bullshit anyway. Who cares? Rules make every sport worse.
Technically, you can see through it. Even though Dow, there's a hole that goes all the way down through. They barely make it through the, but it's
that's
very borderline the gray.
Hey, sure. Yusuf says going to play a 6-game final on this coming Friday. House shot 5-1, so fairly flat for an American house shot. 25 mils of oil, 40 feet. Most guys using urethanes. I'm two-hander, but I'm still a big fan of the channel. Big fan of the channel. Yeah, I mean, Chris is housing a two-hander.
I'm counting on it, as a matter of fact. So
yeah,
yeah.
The thing that you can, if there is friction to the right and they're not really throwing the ball way to the right with the urethanes, you might actually be able to take advantage of that urethane carry down after the first couple of games and kind of hook around the urethane, and it'll feel like you've got more hold. So having more angle, the only thing is you're going to have to kind of decide, I think, if there's a lot of urethane, whether you want to play the hold or whether you want to play the hook. It's going to be a little more tricky, I think, to have the miss on both sides. Like, yeah, that's what I find with urethane anyway. When I start following it, it's kind of like you've really got to get the ball started up, don't you?
Yeah, that's I mean, that is one of the things I like about the PBA rule, is that the carry down doesn't eliminate any other ball per se. But yeah, as long as those break points are 9, 10, 11 with the urethane balls, then you should be able to get around it a little bit and use it as hold. They'll still be pretty tight down lane, and it'll play more like a 46-foot pattern, but it's going to be usable. But you are two-handed. There's no reason why you can't just throw urethane, like, if that ends up being the play, then just throw it.
Yeah.
Casey has an interesting take. He says, Liz and Barton won holiday double. Surprised they didn't parlay that into the Lucy. I love Barta, but I'm not confusing him with Kyle Troop. So.
Oh, dear. Kyle Troop's a killer.
He is.
12 PBA titles, says he's pretty good at bowling.
Yeah, it's a consistent top 5 in the world guy. So these days, it's sorry.
Well,
yeah, it's not like Liz is bowling with some Not bowling me. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that maybe lessons were learned because going back 2 months ago, Jeff Riggles said that Jillian Martin is undoubtedly the best female bowler in the world, which at the time was a stretch. He miswrote Jane Sin, and yeah, and it just shows that like everything is always about the environment that you're in.
yeah.
Like Jillian hadn't been in that environment, and she tried to. I'm sure if she'd have taken a pitch black with her, and she was like kind of used to throwing that, she'd have been able to make good shots because she's a really good bowler. She just isn't accustomed to that being the solution. So she struggled a little bit.
Hasn't been a problem. So
Sorry,
we were the same. We were the same the first time we went to a world event. They kept telling us how much the Koreans at that time, like 2010,
yeah,
they were throwing urethane. Like, we've bowled on the cheetah before. We're professionals. We know how to bowl on this.
yeah.
And a week later, when we're all, we're watching PA and Rhino strike every shot with urethane balls, and Walter's averaging 201 on the cheetah. And you're like, well, maybe.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like it's just a different world, different. It's just different. Like, and it's like when we go and bowl the snowman, Simo really isn't that much better than I am because the things that make him better in the real world don't exist in that tournament. They just don't. And that's part of Jillian's skill set. She has lots of things that she's way better than all the other girls who are in that tournament. She just didn't get to use them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. It's like
get to the fringe of our stuff, especially she's not old. She's
no,
a kid.
100%. It'd be like Bryson. It'd be like Bryson DeChambeau going and play a pitch and putt. Like he can hit it 400 yards. The longest hole's 120. Who cares?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but that's what it's like. It's like you've got all these skills that are just totally useless in that environment, and that's kind of what happens. So,
true.
Yeah.
Anywho, more questions, and then we're going to wrap things up.
Yeah, we have 12 super chats, and let me just count how many. I'm actually just going to do this. I'm going to do this totally from the email order that come in. So, I know it is a little bit trust me, bro, but so we've got a. I'm going to give away a bowling ball. You can pick whatever you want on the Storm Rotogrip 900 Global side, as long as it's out. So if you want to choose the what's it called, Harsh Reality Pearl, you'll have to wait till Friday to get it shipped.
Thanks, Raymond.
Thank you to all the people who've donated. We really appreciate you. Let me just count up. God. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so the Lucy is this weekend. Again, it's not a big fan of the practice schedule being early in the morning on Thursday or Wednesday.
No, Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. Much rather see that a little later. It's not quite so convenient for anyone, but
yeah. So we've got 35 between the super chats and 36 between the super chats and the donations. Thank you to everybody. Adam, I just saw you. Thank you. And Aaron, thank you. Super chats will be the first section, and then the everything else is the the rest. I get it. There isn't really a good way of me doing this. What I really wanted to do, I really wanted to do it so that the people who donated more got more tickets, so to speak. And then, but I couldn't find a program where I could dial in. Like, so for example, Alan Riley donated $50. He would have got 50 tickets. I couldn't find a program to do that. So if anybody knows of one for this particular situation, that would have been cool. In general, I kind of just like it that anybody can be involved. So, so we're gonna do the ball backpack, and we're gonna do a Cool Whip jersey of your choice. So, right. 36. Right. Okay. Let me do a share screen. Random number generator. Okay. So just check, add that to the stage. There we are. Forget every advert about everything that's ever existed. Generate 24. Okay. I will find that out. Let's just, we'll do all three drawings. So 24, 32, and 4. Okay. So 4 won the jersey. 4 is, that is Ryan. No. Yeah. Ryan Thibodeau. Thank you. You were the, you were number 4. So thank you. Oh, shit. Derek was number 4. Ryan and Derek can both win. I don't care. So, Derek, you're both going to win a jersey. Just send me an email, beefandbarnzy@gmail.com. I'll help you out with going through the process. But, yeah, I managed to give away 2 jerseys there because I miscounted. But Ryan and Derek, congratulations. And then 24. So the bowling ball was won by right. The bowling ball was won by Nevin Kinzel. So Nevin, send me an email, beefandbarnzy@gmail.com, and we will get it all put together. Thank you, LFG. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Two Bias Bowling. We appreciate you guys. I will post a final total of how much we had. It'll probably take me a couple of days just because of fees and all the rest of the bullshit. And then we will make that available to Donna. Yeah. So you ordered a jersey. Okay. Well, send me an email. We'll figure it all out. Thank you to everybody who donated. Yes, Martin, I should have donated myself. I could have done, and the winner of the ball is me, and then made Barnzy use his credit to send it to me. Yeah. Just send all the info over, beefandbarnzy@gmail.com, and we'll get all of that taken care of. Congratulations, guys. Thanks again. I think we're going to have just over $500 to give to Donna, so that's cool. She'll be really happy. It's cool that the community has come out this way. I remember the last time we did this, we raised a ton of money for Lenny. It's good to see Lenny doing better. So thanks to everybody. It really warms our heart to see everybody digging in. So
what he said. Really appreciate you guys. I think Nico asked, probably the only one. A bowl at 4 Eastern today. Really lopsided out there. There's a little bit of that out there. There was 14-2 off of A yesterday. In between all of that, keep in mind that 18 out of the top 20 in points were also on A. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Tuesday, maybe. Yeah, maybe Tuesday. It depends what
Yep.
time I have to get going up to Arkansas.
that will be a travel day for me. I have 9 hours to go that day, I believe.
Yeah.
So
So we'll figure it out, but probably do something Tuesday.
okay.
Yeah, the thing is everybody talks about the squad inequities and stuff. This is a squad inequity of ability, unfortunately. It's not necessarily the lane machine or anything else. It's just they've put most of the most successful PBA 50 bowlers on one squad, like Chris has been saying. So, yeah.
Yeah, squad's got lopsided and just didn't get fixed.
Balls.
Oh yeah.
Derek, I was supposed to be giving a backpack away, not a jersey. So, does Derek or who was the other guy who won?
Nevin? Oh,
Ryan. Do either of you want a backpack? The first one who comments can have the backpack instead of the jersey. My bad. The jersey was more expensive than the backpack, if that makes anybody feel better. Yeah. Sorry. My bad. Okay, Derek. Okay, Derek, you can get the backpack. Ryan, yeah. Yeah. Thank
All
you
right.
for calling me out. I just messed it up. So Derek's gonna get a backpack. We gave away another jersey instead. So all right, cool. Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate you guys. We'll see you later.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. In between now and then, please support the sponsor, support us, and thank you for supporting Striking Out Breast Cancer. Fantastic event. Donna has done for 2 decades now and more. So, but please support our sponsors as well when you get a chance, if you have a choice. Storm, Rotogrip, 9 Global, Kuwait, Bowlers Mark, Fire Lake Bowling Center, Lightning Strikes, and Platinum Ford. Stay safe, stay healthy for all you guys traveling. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next week. God bless.